Welcome, everyone. I'm really, really happy that for whatever reason you came across this YouTube video. And here I am. I'm Fallie. And here comes my cat. Hey, baby. I'm here to talk a little bit about my own awakening experience. The first question is probably, how do you know it is an awakening experience? How do you know you are awakened? The answer is simple. When it happens, you know it. You don't need anyone to tell you what it is. You just know. So my experience is that on the 4th of June, I went on a trip to Mornington with a group of friends. We were there to celebrate one of my friend's partner's birthday. We had shrooms together. That's my first time having shrooms. Fast forward, we had the shrooms together. Just like everyone else, I had all the beautiful, amazing hallucinations. It was like so beautiful. I was staring at this wall, like plain wall, just like this one, for I don't know how long. I spent some time staring at the wall before I realized if this wall, a dead thing with nothing to observe, can be so pretty, what about going outside? I went out. I wanted to check out what it looks like outside. So it was pretty cold. I went out. I was observing grass, grass or trees. They're different when you're on mushrooms. Or they're always like that, but you just don't always pay attention to them to the point where you can actually notice their beings. I saw the aliveness of the grass. They were like waving at me. Literally, they were like waving and dancing at me. They were like so happy to a point that they don't even care if I was there watching. They're just naturally happy, effortlessly happy. And they were also so interconnected with each other, underground, of course, and with the trees and everything in the nature. They were just purely love. The most simple thing, just to be. And that is love itself. Just simply being there. That is love. I cannot describe the feeling that I had when I finally noticed their being and the love that I felt because of exactly what they are, what they always are. I just felt completely shocked by the huge amount of love that was given to me and the huge sense of connection that I had with the grass and the nature and the rest of everything. One way to describe it is that it felt as if their love was too strong. It was like going through me, and it made me transparent. Because normally you have defense mechanism, you have layers and layers of defense you build just because of the way we're socialized and cultured in this society. And unfortunately, people are not always like loving towards each other. So yeah, unfortunately, I also had those defenses. And sometimes when you receive a compliment from other people, you can successfully dodge the compliment by saying back to them, oh, it's not me. Oh, it's nothing. Oh, it's not something that I'm proud of, whatever you can think of. But at that moment, the amount of grass, I mean, they outnumbered me. I had nowhere to hide. I had no way to dodge. So I was there, and all the love went through me. And it did something extremely powerful to me. What it did to me at that point was that I cried and cried and cried. I cried an awful lot of tears. I had 3 stages of my crying. The first stage was that I realized how easy and how simple it is to just be loved. All you need to do is to just be. Nothing else is required. Nothing else. But I'm 29 years old, by the way. But in my past 29 years, unfortunately, I have never received that kind of real love, real universal love from anyone in my life. There were close moments, but because those people in my life, they were not there yet. They were not able to, how do I put it? They were not enlightened yet. Like, until you are loved, you can't love someone else as love. So I cried because all the past 29 years that I spent without experiencing this simple and most powerful thing, which is love. I felt like I wasted all the 29 years. Why did I have to spend all those years without feeling this kind of feeling? Such a waste of my time. And I was crying, crying, crying. And when I was crying, I also realized, yes, in the past, I didn't receive the love, but it's no one's fault. Because I used to not know how to love as well. I used to not know what love is as well. How can I love without knowing what it is? It's no one's fault. Even like my parents or people that I met in my life, they all didn't know what it is. They all didn't know this. They didn't have that kind of experience in their lives. So it's no one's fault. It's really no one's fault. I was crying, and I also really, really gave forgiveness to everything that I experienced in my life. unfortunately, I had a pretty not too pleasant childhood, and even in adulthood, there were like things happening, some sufferings, the right amount of suffering has happened to me. But yeah, when you finally know what love really is, and then you look back, no wonder I suffered from those people, because they didn't receive this love and they didn't know how to love. You can't blame people for not knowing something. You can't blame someone for something that they don't know. So there's nothing to forgive. And then I came to my second stage of crying. I cried. Yeah, actually, I cried when I was hugged by a lovely friend. When I realized that, because I've gone vegan for a while, so I realized all the vegetables and fruits that I ate, they were as happy and loving as those grass and trees. But they stopped living because we needed them. They stopped being able to love, being able to feel love and be loved. They stopped being connected to the earth because of us, because we needed them. It's not our fault that we need to eat, we need to survive. It is not our fault. But the reason why I was crying an awful lot of tears again was because I realized when we were eating them and we were not being embodying love, see how we turn their lives to be. We turned them, which is like pure love, pure being, we ate them and we turned them to things that are not so pure. And that is very unfortunate. That's not very respectful to the time they spent here, to the love and the connection they felt, they embodied when they were here. And that's a huge waste of their love. That's a huge waste. So I cried a lot, like a lot. Then I ran out of water again. And it was extremely cold outside. So I went back inside. I was leaning towards this heater. And at that point, I think my friends noticed that I cried a lot. And they kind of wanted to, take care of me, which is really, really nice and sweet. And yeah, I really appreciate all the love and care they gave to me during that mushroom trip. But the third stage was that I cried because I realized that nothing here makes sense at all. Because knowing what love really is, knowing how easy, how simple it is to just love and just be, and knowing the fact that we are supposed to all be like that, and we're supposed to just all be love, and we're supposed to be connected and look at the world, which is not what we're supposed to be. The feeling that I had was that nothing is what it's supposed to be. What kind of world was that? What kind of world we've been invading? What kind of I think after so long, I can tell this story without crying, but I think I failed. Okay. Anyway, you get my point. This world is not what it's supposed to be. We're not set up for success. That's my feeling. And that's no one's fault. People are suffering, people are harming themselves and harming each other, but it's not their fault. Nothing was completely what it's supposed to be. I think that's crying out of compassion. And all the crying, after that, I closed my eyes. I was still leaning onto the heater. I was able to see like some great patterns. Like, how do I describe it? It's like they're colorful, like LED lights, but they were like animated, super animated. It can show you whatever it wanted to show you. A corridor, a colorful like pathway to somewhere, I don't know where it is, or just simply whatever the pattern we can think of. And I was shown all those beautiful patterns, and I was so impressed and amazed until there's a voice. I don't know where the voice came from. It must came from me, because we are all that. We're all consciousness. We're all one thing. So it must be me. But it's also not. So there's this voice telling me, hey, look at how powerful it is to not be in the physical world, meaning this world where you have, walls, everything, this human body. Because apparently in this physical world, to generate anything, even any visual effects, you need a lot of work, effort to make it happen, and to manipulate things in order for them to look in a particular way. But in that world where you can just manipulate nothing to show anything you want to show, anything you want to see, that is definitely more powerful. This physical world is not powerful at all compared to that, whatever you call it, realm, dimension. And then I was asked this question: do you want to leave this physical world and go there like forever? I knew deeply what that means. I knew that if I said yes, I would be like dead in this physical world. Because when that I leave the body will not work. I was so panicked when I was asked that question. And also at that point, no pattern was shown to me at all. It was just pure black, pure nothingness. And I felt like I was asked that question, and something was waiting for my answer. I know they will respect whatever the decision I make. I know it because there's no malice behind the question. There's no bad intention at all. And the feeling that I had when my eyes were still closed at that point was that I was on the edge of a cliff. Although I didn't really have a body, but the interesting thing is that I was on the edge of the cliff. There's no cliff, by the way. That's just a feeling. That's just an analogy. When I make my decision to join that and leave this body here forever, I'll be jumping off the cliff. But I'll be fine because there's no ground. Because there's nothing there. There's like nothing, pure nothingness. So there's no ground. When there's no ground, you can't hit the ground. So the question was almost an invitation for me to jump and free fall forever. And it was so powerful. It is like the most powerful thing you can imagine. Because imagine when imagine you're a piece of consciousness and you were able to travel back to before the time was even started, before the Big Bang. When you were there before the Big Bang, when nothing was there, that moment in itself, it has tremendous power and all the possibilities you can ever think of. Because nothing has happened yet. Nothing has happened yet. There's nothing there. But just because of that, it is the most powerful. It has the most potential. And it is the state that is like total free. And that state is like the free fall. That's actually great. That's actually super great. Because even when I was on the cliff, I was also in that there's no space, because how do I describe it? It's really hard to describe the moment before the Big Bang, because there's no space and there's no time. There was just that thing, which is nothing. Basically, it is great. It is great. But I wasn't done with my body yet. I just learned how to love. I just learned how to actually connect, truly connect. I just learned why all these years I always felt like that something's wrong. Basically, I wasn't ready to go there. But I also had no concrete, reasonable reason to kind of convince them because my life was already complete. It is hard to describe, but after the love that I felt from the grass, there's nothing here I need to experience anymore. I can still, have a nice cup of tea. I can still go out and travel in a country. Those are all going to be great experiences, but none of those are required. That's not why we are here. Because I just know it deeply, the kind of love, universal love, true love, unconditional love, the experience of that. That is why we are here. Once you have it, you know it. Once you have it, you know that your life here can be over. It has no reason to keep going, actually, no apparent reason to keep going. And so I was like in this panic attack where I felt like I don't want to die, but I also don't have to leave here. Then I thought really, really hard, and the only reason I could come up with to come back is to remind people what this love really is. The moment that I made that decision, I was able to come back without any kind of, connection to that, you know, pre-Big Bang state. And that's probably the entirety of my special experience, my special awakening experience. Actually, since after that experience, everything has changed. Everything has changed in me. You can call it psychedelic induced direct experience with love that led to this interesting out of body experience slash near death experience, because to me that was near death. But the whole thing to me, that that day I actually died. Me before that awakening experience and me after the experience, what changed was this shift in intention and the total shift in identity. Because before that experience, I knew nothing is right. I knew whatever I get, that doesn't give me exactly what I think I deeply wanted. But now, nothing is personal. This life is not personal. I'm actually not living a life for myself. There's also this lack of suffering and huge clarity, a lot of revelations coming up, and the automatic love that you can share, like the love from within, it overflows. When I interact with other people, there's no way for me to not share the love to them because it overflows. So yeah, I think that's everything that I want to share today because it's getting darker and darker. I hope this is interesting, and I hope it's somehow inspiring. And just comment with any questions if you feel like I wasn't being clear about anything. I'll try my best to explain, but no guarantee. Cool. A lot of love sending to everyone who's watching and who's not watching this video. And I truly, truly hope you have a peaceful mind and great rest of the day. Thank you.